This is Max Michaelani, and you're listening to the Crowject.
Lanning takes a goal! And he loves the goal. Adelaide back in front.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the Crowject episode 213, and we have a lot to get through tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else as well. Shout out to our sponsors, Trojan Aluminium and Nathaniel's Coffee and Panini, with Nathaniel's now a well-established store at Nathaniel's Porta Via at 229 Greenhill Road, next to Pop-Up Community Health, or just underneath, depending on your orientation. Now, it's not just me around the table, and my name's Peter. I'm wearing a lovely Poe persistent or plush oversized hoodie. Not persistent, but hello, Ray. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not going well tonight. Layden, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Djokovic lost, so that's good.
Yeah, clap that. Yeah, and whoa, hey,
Crowd up and about.
yeah, okay.
Strawberries and cream got to their head.
And also we have Ben. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Oh, you can that.
Now, real quick, Layden, could you just tell us the scores pretty please?
Do I have to?
We've got a lot to get through tonight as well.
Right.
We've got the AFLW fixture. We've got Ben is just going to go off, I think, soon, but later.
Just stewing.
So the Crows were winning at three-quarter time, 17 points, but the final score was 57-71, the Orange team.
Ray.
They were very orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You would have thought we could have manned up since they were in high vis, but it was. I'm going to put it out there. Like, I'm usually glass half full when it comes to this sort of stuff, but that's our worst loss of 2 years in the last 2 years.
Yep.
That was bad.
So you don't reckon we can make the 8?
I'm not ruling that out yet. I'm
What
a
about the
forever
magic
optimist.
round? What about this wild card spot up for grabs?
Oh, we would love that, but I'm not ruling it out. I think we can get back on track, but that was just not a great game.
Yes.
Now, Ben, it's taken a while for you to stew on this one. You've digested, you've regurgitated, you've eaten it again, you've redigested it. It's now a fine pulp.
Yep.
You've been busy.
I've been doing a lot the last few days.
Whoa.
There we go.
Tell me, thoughts on the game?
I'm very unsure as to how Saturday night happened. Again, we watched our midfielders get carved up in the middle.
Yes.
Again, we watched the same players go in there, centre bounce attendance after centre bounce attendance. Again, we watched Rob tap it down to no one, and nothing changes. If anyone's watched the walk and talk from after the game, Pete thought that I'd lost my voice from yelling. It was just nothing there.
Sorry about that. It was pretty good though. I mean, like when I saw you there and I saw it was just, you had this just, that 1,000-yard stare that usually, Grandpa Joe comes back from World War II with that from there. For our patrons, patreon.com/Crowject. If you go for our pre-roll, we talk about all things, the biggest frauds in all of cinema as well. But there has been some talk about this being lost on the Thursday night for selections. Now, I'm going to throw this over to Ray and Layden, but do you agree with that sentiment?
Yes and no. Sorry if I cut you off. I just thought if McAdam was going to come in, I thought he'd be absolutely raging to go. Just absolutely tipping over the edge, like
Throbbing.
Oh, like touch yourself ready to go.
Yeah.
And
Just to win, kaboom.
He just wasn't there. Like, to be fair and to be frank, kind of playing for his career.
Yeah.
For
He's
his
at that
spot in the
age
senior
now
team.
where he needs to cement his spot.
He was out, when did we play in round 1?
Yeah.
And he basically took 17 rounds to come back.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a walk-up start anymore.
Yeah,
So
I reckon
you
they
would've
just
thought-
drop him. They bring him back next year against the Giants. He only plays
against the Giants. But, like, you would have thought he was absolutely raging for it to, like, try and get a spot back in this team, but he just wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't quite there. It was an interesting choice. Like, he was playing well in the SNFL, but he wasn't. Yeah, he didn't seem really, really eager on Saturday night. But I think, last week's selections were more weird than this week's. I think Saligo dropped. Yeah, I get that. Butts come back in. That's more automatic. But yeah, I don't know whether were there anyone else that standouts that could have been dropped after last week's performance against
Possibly
the
Shoal.
Bombers?
I was going to say Shoal.
There's been a lot of talk about Shoal. Yeah.
Murphy would have been stiff, but he had a poor game last week too. Like,
Murphy's body of work, though, this year, you couldn't drop him.
he would have been stiff. That was probably his only bad game of the year. So fair enough to keep him in. But it's interesting as well that we sub McAdam out halfway through the third quarter when we're struggling to kick goals. So let's just sub out
struggling aerially in our forward line.
Yeah.
Like the Giants' defense, credit to them because they just dominated us in that last quarter, especially. But yeah, without McAdam there, he was no hope.
I think a lot of people are more questioning how they dominated us.
Yeah.
Like, there's all this talk about us having just this potent forward line and everything, and we didn't even crack 60 points. So
no,
so it's not good.
No, a defence with Connor Iden shouldn't be blanketing anyone, let's be perfectly honest. But as I was saying a moment ago, it starts in the middle. And stoppages, you look at that, hit-outs at stoppages, we won 16-7. So you go, geez, we probably went all right in the middle.
Yeah.
Clearances from those stoppages, lost 12-7.
Yep.
In the centre, lost 4-2. Just got absolutely dominated again. And that's with no Tom Green in their side. That's with a whole bunch of players out. Going up against Kieran Briggs was their main ruck for the whole night. So, I don't know, Rob just didn't have much of a game. He couldn't take his marks like he normally would. He'd get a hand to it and it'd just go to ground. He'd slip over like a giraffe that's just been born. He just had a stinker.
It was very Stewie Jew at the ground. Maybe he was there. We don't know. But
he's got nowhere else to be.
But I don't know. I honestly do think selections really robbed us. We did not do well with the selections. It was wet underfoot. We should have gone for more speed, I think. They were just breaking through our midfield as well. They were just especially in that third quarter, they were getting on top. I don't know how they didn't get closer. But even if we look here, 1 point in the last quarter versus was that 5-2?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we ain't going to win if
it's an AFL humping, if ever I've seen one in that last quarter.
It is. And I think the reluctancy to change stuff in the middle, again, I'll go back to the middle again. I've got the centre bounce attendance stats for you because this is what I've been stewing on absolutely all week. Jordan Dawson, 17 centre bounce attendance, is fair enough. No issues with that.
Yep.
Ben Keys had 17.
Well, he was tagging.
Yeah.
So you can
I understand that more.
Yeah.
I think it's the next person is just as important.
Laird had 16 and you go, okay, fair enough. Probably your premier midfielder. Sloan had 12 in there and he hardly got his hands on the ball all night.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in his milestone, he had a bit of a poorer game. And I think he was sort of either in the middle or on the bench. I feel like he's better in that wing role, which I don't think we saw enough.
I actually would have liked to see maybe way left field, and this is probably why I'm sitting here talking about it on Monday night, not in the box, but I wouldn't have minded seeing Sloaney go play on Toby Green for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
He could match him in the air. He could match him on the ground. He could match him for strength. Max was a bit out of his depth on him.
He was.
Yeah.
It was a good
Max
learning experience, but I don't think this was the game to give him that opportunity to be like, hey, learn from Toby Green tonight.
Yeah.
It was we needed to shut him down because otherwise we're going to lose.
I think I said it at the start of the year that I think Sloan is a great option for a lockdown defender.
Yeah.
Send him back there. He's going to do a job. He's going to put everything into it.
He's such a contested player.
Yeah. And the last thing about attendance stat, which was the one that's really annoyed me the most, and I thought with Saligo going out of the side, this guy would have a few in the middle. Luke Pedler.
Yeah.
He got one.
One.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a stud in there. Real stud.
When we needed things to change in the middle, we needed to throw guys like Pedler, guys like
Rochelle,
Rankin.
I would have loved to see a Rankin in there.
Because he was very quiet because we didn't have, especially in the second half and last quarter, like there was no time in forward half for him to get any crumbs. So he just needs to be around the ball, but we didn't give him that chance.
Do we need to talk about Rochelle?
Yes.
I think we've mentioned him.
Yeah. So the long sleeves, great.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
See, the one thing I love about Josh Rochelle is the fact that he always looks like it's the typical Italian thing. He hasn't shaved. Like, he's got the 5 o'clock. He's just persistent. It's great.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon he'd look really good with some stubble, proper stubble.
Okay.
Like we just went for it. But anyway, that's separate.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
The aesthetics, A+.
Aesthetics,
Yeah.
A+. The anger, it's a problem. Now, I think it was Perryman who had a pretty rough tackle on him.
Yeah,
Sort
drove
of
him into the ground.
Drove him into the
Yep.
ground. Rochelle remonstrated with him. Fair. However, there was some follow-up afterwards because I was down on the ground for the Western Stand for that, and I was seeing that I'm pretty sure Perryman was tagging Rochelle
Yeah.
because they were coming on and off at the same time.
He didn't get much space at all.
Correct. And then as soon as they came on, Rochelle was straight at him and, well, just tried to flat out
Barry Hall him.
but without the head wobble and,
Yeah.
you know, the repeats all the time. It was just a straight out whack. And I think Perryman was even shocked. He was just surprised that he really got under his skin. 2 weeks that he's gotten from the MRO. So I guess for that, what are your thoughts there, Ray?
My thoughts are this isn't going to be a 2-week thing. Like, he's shown his hand. You reckon who we play in 2 weeks' time isn't going to go, well, there's the Josh Rochelle handbook. Just get under his skin and he's going to snap. Like, this is going to be a more than a 2-week thing. Like,
so you reckon he's going to enter his sad boy phase, like an emo phase, like bit of simple plan now, like just
I don't want to be perfect.
he comes out with the hair like off to the side.
Yeah.
Comes out for training. It's just Josh, your thoughts on the showdown, mate?
Yeah.
It's just another game, isn't it? But it's not as bad as the pain of life.
He's going to get get a tear tattoo.
Did you kill
It's
anyone?
not a phase, Mom.
Did you kill him? Yeah, my career.
Like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, he can work through it, but
It's the first time he's really done this sort of.
But it's the first time a
negative
team's
thing.
gone after him.
Yeah.
Well, like, everyone's tried to play close to him and he can break that, but no one's tried to like niggle.
Yeah.
And it's proven to work. So why won't they keep going with it? And I'm kind of glad that he's got 2 because could you imagine giving away a soft free kick like he did in arguably a pretty critical time of the game? Turnover, we're going forward.
Yep.
He chins someone behind the ground, like behind the ball goes the other way in a tight showdown. Like, they're more important than, you know, a game against a team in high-vis roadworker gear. You know what I mean? So I don't like this for Josh Rochelle going forward.
You're right.
I think
You go.
No, I was just going to say, I think young kid, what is he, 20 years old? As you said, first time he's probably copped some proper attention from a defender. Lost is cool. The thing we need to look at as well is if the umpire pays the initial free kick for driving his head into the ground, it doesn't go that far.
Yeah, exactly.
Umpiring was pretty crap. Just across the board. Like, this is the part that I get frustrated about is people just saying, oh, they weren't paying it for us. There were some frees that we got that were not there.
Lockie Murphy damn near decapitated one of their players on the 50 and got nothing. I was
I
like,
know.
what?
Yeah.
And there's people like getting angry at the umpires when they finally paid one like against us, but that was there. And you're like, well, come on.
Chase Jones kicked a goal from a free kick that got let go the other way like 3 minutes beforehand. I don't know. The 4 umpires, is it making them more inconsistent? Are they? I don't know.
I feel like they're just second guessing too many, and there's too many eyes on the same thing.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what you're going to get.
They keep saying they couldn't see the contest. It's like there are more of you now.
Yeah.
I think their positioning, I have seen, there's been a couple of umpires that I've noticed even over the weekend, and it wasn't for our game, that you can tell they're fatiguing by the end of the match. There was one, I can't remember which game it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Richmond West Coast game. One of them was properly cramping up at the end of the third.
You think it'd be easier with more. But I know they've changed. I know they've changed their patterns where they got to run because they're supposed to, with this extra umpire, have someone sort of where the crowd is closest to the play.
Yeah.
So you can, like, you don't miss obvious ones that the crowd sees.
Yeah, right.
But I haven't noticed that as a big improvement this year.
No.
Did you actually, speaking of umpires fatiguing, the AFL released a video during the week on their socials that they did an umpire thing when they were coming on. It was just boundary umpires at this point, but like, how many Ks do you do a week? And that, like, some of the older ones are like, oh, at the moment I only, about 50. And then like the younger ones are like, yeah, around 70.
Jeez.
Like, they're putting some Ks into their legs and we're expecting him to be,
Yeah. So I I can't say who, and I'll probably say this in the Patreons thing, but there is a friend of mine that I work with. Her husband is a former AFL boundary umpire. The amount of work that my colleague has said that he put in during his career is just phenomenal as well. And the other thing as a boundary umpire, the fatigue you'd have on your lower back, slinging that ball.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
Dang. Anyway. Now, we're going to talk about some of the feedback from the listeners.
Before we get into feedback from the listeners, sorry, we just skipped the who impressed, and there's one man that I want to talk about, and I don't know if I'm going too early on this, but Mitch Hinge down back.
Yep, Minge was good.
I'm like, it's a little bit too early at this stage because what's he been down there? I don't know. I guess 14 weeks because he started on the wing.
Yeah.
So it's like too early to say I love him. Like if we were in a new relationship and we were like, I wouldn't be like I love you because then it'd be weird.
Yeah, you don't want to go too hot.
You don't want to go too early.
Yeah.
But like definitely I'd be like, I really, really like you.
Yeah, really.
I really like you. Like if we go out to dinner, I'd be willing to take my clothes off in the Uber, but it's too early to say I love you.
Would you be willing to take a dump in front of him? That's love.
No.
Like
no,
we're not on
like,
but in like in front. Okay, you flag that. So yeah.
But yes, Mitch Hinge, love,
good.
Really, really like you.
All right, we're going to get to some of the feedback from the listeners. Now, I'm going to go to Facebook first. Now, shout out to Connor, who did our socials, who used the comment, same shit, different round. I couldn't agree more. We've got here, Tom Williamson says, D-list show.
Oh, a bit harsh.
I feel like he hasn't been terrible. He has turned into a whipping boy. He reminds me a bit of Atkins.
Yeah, he does.
But you know, he's a good ball user. That's why he's in the side.
A bit like Atkins.
Yeah. Well, generous comparison. But you know, like when he gets the ball, Shoal's really good. He's not like obviously he's not inside player, but he's not like he's soft or anything.
I need to discuss a follow-up. So a reply directly to that one. Matt Warren. He said, and also delist Murphy and Keys and Fogg. Pathetic past 2 months.
Yeah,
from all
job,
three. From all three of them, those are the I feel like those players are the role players keeping the team together.
Yeah. If you'd said pathetic fortnight from Murphy, I'd say okay, that's probably fair enough. But
also pick peddlers just for the alliteration. Like you got to follow with pathetic pitman. You got to follow that trend.
Parnell.
Yeah, Parnell. It was terrible. You didn't even see him.
Christopher Jensen says, Crow should learn to move the ball down the field quicker instead of waiting until the opposition man up. There was a fair amount of that, but I don't think
they had a spare a lot of the time. I think that was the issue.
Yep. A friend of Pod and Patreon, Brendan McGarrigan, says, disappointing effort against a side in a similar position to us ladder-wise. While we've matched it or beaten the upper end of the ladder and we're getting the job done against the lower end of the ladder, we had some real difficulty with mid-table sides, with St Kilda and Carlton the only mid-table sides we've beaten this year. He goes on there too, but not, to be honest, valid points.
Yeah. If we won, we would have been 6th right now.
And to his point, not only on the ladder-wise, but their age and game profile is basically identical to ours. Like, we average age of 25 years, 2 months. They're 25 and 5 months. And exactly the same amount of average games. So we're basically in the same spot list-wise. So, you know, it's disappointing in that respect as well.
Jess Cook has said, another embarrassment of a game. Incohesive, unpolished and disappointing. Jess is also a friend of Pod and Patreon. Sloan didn't deserve that shit. Agreed. Now, John Incy Spider, I don't know. Jess has replied and says, he was one of our worst players. Sloan on the night. Now, okay, yeah, he was fucking... You would have thought the rest of the team would have, helped him
lifted a bit.
Yeah. Again, goes back to that where he played. Like, if it's not working in the middle, he's got to be moved because he can, he can benefit the team elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all heard, if you listened to the preview pod we did on Thursday night, you all heard the man love that I've got for Sloaney. Like, I barely come up for air at all during that pod, but he wasn't his usual self. He cracked in when he had opportunities to, like he always will, but it wasn't his best game.
Yeah. Now we head over to Twitter, Ben.
We certainly do. Friend, Patreon, and Queen of the Pod, Sophie Damon says, I think it hurts so much because we've already exceeded our expectations. We've seen glimpses of brilliant footy and taken it up to top teams this year, so now we are expecting to win. This result is a good picture of where we're actually at.
Yeah, that consistency isn't there. We've been matching it with the best sides, but yeah, I think that's 4 or 5 games now where we've just lost really close ones from winnable positions.
Yeah. Yep. Probably transitions into this one. Well, from Michael, who says, yep, season over. Only positive is we'll finish with more wins than last year.
Which, I mean, at the start of the year, I said I'd be happy if we just get more wins. We've got to have a trajectory.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're more frustrated that it's coming to near the end of the year and we're sort of petering out.
That hope's there a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting teased.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that we've been in so many games and we're very realistic, like we could be top 4 right now.
Yeah.
But
100%.
we're not. Super Dragons DT says the kids are getting tired at this point of the year. Giants seem to have the Crows number somehow as well. 3 straight wins over us.
So that was Himmelberg?
that was Elliot. Yeah.
And 2 more. We have got Cynical Aussie Bloke who says majority of teams have maybe 1 or 2 substandard players, but we have Murphy, Scholl, McAdam, Keys, Butts, O'Brien, Miller, Rochelle, etc. Bit fucking harsh. These guys wouldn't make my Magoos. Poor skills, no awareness, can't read play, too slow, too small, or combination of all of the above. Embarrassing to watch. Not wrong about being cynical there. Lastly, Chewy Bravo says, that was McAdam's last game for sure. Rochelle needs a few weeks in the SANFL to humble himself. Murphy needs to harden up. Every time he takes a knock, he acts like it's a season-ending injury. I mean, potentially with his neck history, it could be.
Yeah.
Time to drop.
I'm not making a prediction anymore about his... not doing it.
He finishes off by saying, time to drop half the team and bring in some SANFL players. Tank and get a good pick. We're not tanking from here, big fella, just respectfully.
No, I wouldn't have thought tanking from here works.
Now, sorry, we're just having a look at our Instagram stories where we put up the thing asking thoughts on the game. Now, first off, just a shout out to Port_Adelaide_memes. He wrote in and said, spaghetti-o. Now, old mate, listen, we've got to talk because the last time that you messaged us was... after the showdown in start of last year, where Dawson,
after the gold it, after the siren it,
but it was also after the July trouncing last year, where you lost to North Adelaide by 126 points, 136 to 10, and I just put up the ha like that, and they said, so now you want to count the SANFL? I wipe my tears with 37 flags. They don't even follow us. Like they just found our page, and this is the same thing again. And don't worry, there was a lot of roasting that me and Connor had back through that. So
I love the sporadic replies. Like he only does it every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, but it's literally after Port shit the bed completely against Carlton, and we'll get to that later. So anyway, we've got some thoughts here as well, and Ray, have a look through some of these too if you see any. I've got here. We've got Hamish.s09 says fuck.
Yeah, straight to the point.
Yep.
Min Tim? 89.
Mini
Tim.
Yeah.
Overall, though, we look tired. Finals are still a possibility, but unlikely. Time for more kids?
Well, it's a personal
question. I don't know. You better ask your wife. Mini Tim's maybe ask Big Tim.
Yeah. now we've got a dog that's written in. Remy the toy cavoodle said, "We just always fall asleep in the last quarter. It's just BS." Now, real quick, people that
smart
have
doggo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people that have Instagram accounts for their pets, yes or no?
No.
Big fat no.
Yeah.
There's a big red flag.
Do you reckon that this is a guy who's hiding behind there because the missus must be a Port fan or something, so he just wants to be able to reply here? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's football he's
whoa.
looking
Remy
for.
the toy cavoodle follows up and says, I want to stab myself in the eyes. God, it's...
Jesus.
Someone get the RSPCA around there.
Man, this cavoodle's dark. We got Laura KO2 says, crying emoji. Why did they give me hope?
We got Charlotte.
Charlie T. Homus.
Yeah, says, Crows choking on umpire's dick for real. What?
But they didn't give us free kids.
I know.
I don't get that
we
one
get
either.
paid? Like, I don't know. Another full quote, a fade out from Clisson _mate.
Punga _ says, if you made a ladder for games ended at 3/4 time, we'd actually be in the top 4.
It's always that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's always, if only the AFL's VFL buyers, if they just win those games.
We only play 3 quarters or 7 periods. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing in between.
What else we got? We got Aidan Morgan who says, at least we aren't West Coast.
That's true.
Yeah, and Zara Raboob says, how much did GWS pay them? Damn, question mark. Well, it's the AFL's money, so they're just giving it back. So
to finish out, I'll start with Phoebe Street, 190. Where was Jake?
Where did he go? It was terrible on the weekend
Jake
again.
Kelly?
They left in the Eddie.
Jake the Snake Roberts? I don't know.
now we got two. I've got 2 more here. Millie with that 7 L's says, had hope that a miracle would happen this year. Don't think that's the case now after tonight. The other one as well, and we haven't talked on this. There's been a lot of hatred for this guy. Can someone please explain what the fuck was Ben Keys doing with that kick in the last? Now, first off, Rochelle was running towards the boundary line as well. He was leading towards the boundary line.
He started going the right way, and then he was like, I'm just going to go this way.
I know. So I feel like, what was Rochelle's leading pattern there? Because to be honest, Keys is probably just following the guy.
Yep.
You look up, instant, you're going to kick it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 34 and I'm fat. You know, it's not like I'm good at, inside 50s. But at the same time, you're gonna lead to where the play's going. And that's the instinct. So I don't know.
It was a missed kick. It wasn't just that missed kick.
We had plenty of fuck-ups during the game.
Definitely. Because that was like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. It was
an important time.
It was an important time, but it's not like, it still would have been tough from there because we weren't scoring.
I was watching on TV, so I couldn't see like what was like
the angles
behind sort of thing. So I couldn't see behind the goals. So I don't know if GWS had someone back there.
Rochelle was in a paddock.
Yeah, right. So that makes it even worse. I'm glad I know that now.
Don't make it better.
So
that's for sure.
Just on that, we have a tweet from @the_Josh_Rogers today who's tagged us and asked, one of the biggest frustrations for me is the efficiency from Keys. So what do we do with him? Do we keep him in the team as is, improve his craft in the SANFL, or trade him?
We got him for nothing.
Yeah.
Did you know he was delisted by Brisbane?
I did.
He's like one of our highest scoring midfielders, weirdly enough, even though he doesn't always have accurate kicks. He's kicking goals. He works hard. And the skills can be developed, but he's got a lot of good attributes.
I actually think he's better and more valuable for our team to be playing at half forward as a negating forward. So taking
like on Adam Sard.
Yeah, taking Adam Sard out of it. When he played on Nick Dacos, when we played him here, he did really well because Nick Dacos couldn't use the footy. He still had 20-odd touches, but he did nothing with them. So he's most worth to us is to get him on the forward line and, burn an opponent back to goals when you only have to kick it 2 meters.
Yeah.
I see him as like, he's a point of difference in our side. Like not many teams have those sorts of players.
No.
That can really do a role well and won't stop running.
And don't let your hair move at all throughout a season.
It's hot. All right, now, real quick, just want to say thank you to our patrons, patreon.com/Crowject. If you sign up there, you can get all sorts of stuff, spicy pre-rolls, get your crow on. What else can we get there as well? We had Peter and the bets that I put up today about the college football over-unders this season. Also, Benny and the bets is usually on there too. Also, our amazing community that we've developed there too, over 60 Patreons there. So join up with that. You can join our Facebook chat there too to talk all sorts of, usually not about the footy. We've also got our GoCron merch as well, crowject.bigcartel.com. If you look on YouTube, you can see me wearing the lovely plush oversized hoodie as well. La-di-da.
You can get a slightly smaller version of this flag. It's on the table.
This is a 3x1.5 meter one. I can say I'm actually really warm in this thing. I don't know about you guys. It's a little bit cool in here, but holy shit.
You melt in those,
Now, we did have our call-in line. Didn't get a single call, which I find odd. And I checked the line today just to make sure.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Damn it, Telstra.
So if you did leave a message and it didn't, I'm really sorry. But
everyone's just so disappointed. Can't even bring themselves to dial.
I know. But we also got our online Thursday night preview pod as well against Melbourne. We might be joined by the Debrief guys as well, who are part of the Horde network that we're a part of. And also we've got our walk and talk, so you can go onto YouTube and subscribe to YouTube as well. We're going to do a giveaway there at some point, if I remember. You can look at our walk and talk there as well. Did you guys watch the walk and talk? I know, Ben, you were there, but at the same time.
Partially, yeah.
Oh, the best guy was that corporate GWS guy.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, flag that just in case I get sued. We'll be back right after these noises. All right, we're back. Now,
the news.
Josh Rochelle has been given a 2-week suspension.
Yeah.
For swinging an elbow, hasn't he, Ben?
He certainly has, and the club have accepted it pretty swiftly, and I think good decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's played every game this year. We're probably going to rest him anyway, so a forced resting.
I think a lot of people were calling for him to be taken out.
Yeah,
not like a hit, mob hit, but
He took himself out in the end, didn't
not
he?
Scarface style, but just like
not with a chainsaw in the shower. Yeah.
I did see he also got fined as well for a scuffle he had with Perryman too, so it's not been a good day.
Oh.
no.
Wasn't he charged for tripping
Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been
Expensive
a very
couple of
naughty
weeks.
boy. He's not the Messiah.
He's not the Messiah. He's on our podcast. He's in the background. Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. There were some thoughts that we had online in regards to the Josh Rochelle ban as well.
Oh, man. There were some thoughts.
There were a lot of thoughts that came up on there as well. We look at some of the thoughts here as well. He was defiant, has a case of frustrated young player, inverted commas, says Tony Scoos. Take the break. He needs it. I honestly thought he'd get 3 weeks. Because it was just a clean, he swung for his face.
He did.
Not even in a contest.
I feel like it could have happened like the Brayshaw incident in the Derby a couple of years ago. I feel like that could have easily happened.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have been surprised if it was 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. And
so happy with 2.
We've got a turncoat here as well. David C. Egan says, I'm a Port supporter and I've got to say the player who sunk his elbow into Rochelle's face should get 4 matches. Having said that, Rochelle was retaliating and he shouldn't have a learning experience.
That is a very measured Port supporter.
I know.
Is it Koshy?
He's bald.
No, that can't be right.
It could be Koshy.
Koshy, measured. Nah.
Oh, no, this is actually a good guy. Volunteer at Rotary International, worked at Salvo Army Australia.
And he worked at the good
He's
guys.
a nice person.
Thanks for making me feel like a piece of shit, David. I volunteer. I do charity work.
All right.
I make dick jokes all the time. So what?
You can't not laugh at a good fart, though.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, most of the comments are pretty similar on Twitter. We have Adam Rawlings who says, don't bother appealing it. The lesson needs to be learnt. Season's over. He's looked cooked the last few weeks. And McElhaney this same last night. A few others out of form or confidence. There is some work to be done before next season. David Rogers said, I think your celebration might change in the future.
That was you that did the post, wasn't it? And you wanted to pick out the punchy.
Yeah. Had to be, didn't it?
Yeah. Peter says, keep watching it, but the swing didn't even make contact. If little Bo Peep had swung that hard and made contact, his head would have moved. Rochelle would have sat him on his ass.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
That's the action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you get it's like when you get a fine for speeding. Oh, but there wasn't a little child standing in the middle of the road. So what's the risk?
Yeah, if he had done the old T signal and gone up to the third umpire, there wouldn't have been anything on Snicko. They would have had to check hotspot to see if inconclusive evidence on
Okay, can you rock and roll that footage?
Okay,
when you're back on screen.
When you're ready for ball tracking.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. This is the part that I'm really pissed off about. I'm more pissed off than I am about the game. The AFLW fixture has finally dropped.
And when does the season start?
Only in 7 weeks?
Yeah.
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
Nothing like a bit of preparation.
Our first game, and this sets the trend, we're playing a home showdown. Adelaide Oval? No, we're playing at Norwood.
Ugh.
At 2:35 p.m.
And what's happening in Adelaide Oval that weekend?
Mungan or guts. Fucking nothing.
They might double the tours of the scoreboard. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Oh, have you done that tour?
Yeah, I loved it.
The worst part is when they do the thing, just pretend that you're walking out on the ground. They play the fake sound.
Yeah.
And you walk out and there's no one there. It's like, oh, wow, it's like COVID. Like,
Well, when I did it, when I walked out of there, Richmond were out there training.
oh,
So I was like, something going on at least.
Yeah.
They had an open training there.
Did you have a flashback to like the 2018 camp or
Yeah.
a Richmond training? What's going on?
I rang a counsellor and started divulging all my deepest, darkest secrets. He was like, I don't know you. What are you calling me for?
I didn't know this tour had an EAP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is no reason whatsoever that should be at Norwood Oval. Nothing. No reason. And I've seen people online say, but it's going to be embarrassing if it's a half-full stadium at Adelaide Oval. Who gives a shit?
The first showdown was great atmosphere.
20,000.
Yeah.
The fucking grand final was there and it was full. Ugh.
And onto this, so we've got, as like previous seasons, we've got our home games at Norwood Oval and Unley Oval, sort of a mix between the two. But the main takeaway of this is there's only 10 rounds, again, with 18 teams.
And they asked for 12.
And they asked for 12, slight increase. And no matter what, the grand finals is going to be played at lower tier stadiums.
Yeah, so they released the list on that as well, where
I think any Melbourne team, it's only Icon Park.
Yeah.
Other than Geelong.
Yeah.
For the grand final.
Yeah. And if Port Adelaide make the grand final, have to kick a goal against us to begin with. But it's going to be played at Alberton Oval.
Yeah.
If we make the grand final, it's at Norwood Oval.
Yep.
It's just so disrespectful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. I'm pissed off. You know, I know Soph was saying, you need to rant about this, but as soon as this came out, I was mad on their behalf because it's just insulting.
Doesn't make sense.
Like everything about it is just, they've dropped it so close. They've brought out Nicole Livingston out of her, cryogenic chamber for a 6-monthly address to the media.
Yeah.
And then she's just going to be ushered back in to just keep it quiet.
Don't say anything else.
Say anything. And this is an insult, honestly, to all the girls who play in the AFL women's team for us, because they've got a dynasty that isn't being talked about enough, but also the whole club for not... They've done so much for AFL women's and it's just being pushed to the side completely. Yeah. And the fact that they're playing a game on grand final day.
Oh, yeah, they did the same last
Collingwood
year.
versus Essendon.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's just,
at like 11 a.m. in Melbourne.
And then
what if you want to go to the grand final breakfast?
Or or any of the lead up stuff that they do before it.
If Collingwood, the men's team, make the grand final, there's going to be no one there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know. It's fucked.
It's ridiculous.
It's legit. And Collingwood, are odds on.
Yeah, good chance.
Why would you do that?
But then you look at one of our games. I think we play at Manuka Oval at 10:35 a.m. in the morning against the GWS Giants.
Yep. What? That's going to draw a crowd at GWS.
Yeah.
And the Giants. I don't get it.
We should do a road trip for that one. It'd be better than Ballarat.
Couldn't be worse. Couldn't be worse. It'd be summertime by then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's still Canberra.
Oh, if we take Damon, he'd be complaining that we're not playing in the hottest part of the day or something.
Yeah. But, and in the press release, another thing that annoyed me was they said that the grand final can't be played at tier 1 stadiums because there's cricket on or something. It's like they haven't heard about cricket. Like, what?
Yeah.
They kept this under wraps. We can't play football. What? It's just backwards because you look at the third season where they got 50,000 at Adelaide Oval. There's no room for it to get to that stage. There's no room for growth at all. We're limiting the competition by doing this.
I'm actually really cut up about this, honestly. This is just the part of the game that I think Gil has wanted to invest so much and to really expand the competition very quickly, probably a bit too quickly. And notice that North Melbourne is now called the North Melbourne Tasmanian Kangaroos.
I did notice that.
Because, fuck that expansion team that's coming soon. You reckon that's going to be a shock to AFL? There's another AFL team.
Yeah.
You didn't tell us.
We're still with the Tasmanian Kangaroos.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. It's just a basket case.
Yeah.
I'm really pissed off about this. And we've spent all this time in Gold Coast and GWS and what is it, 250 million that's been sent to the Gold Coast for essentially a very sick club. We could have spent that on international expansion. You look at cricket now, they've got their competition that's going off in the US.
Yeah.
There's nothing that the AFL are doing for like comparatively in the US compared to that. They could have really fostered a league, got the broadcast rights over there, do some exhibition games, even AFL women's exhibition games over there. That would have been fucking fantastic because they've got college sports over there. That is because of Title IX, it's 50-50. So you could have had some scholarship players come over.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I think they just messed up the scheduling. I don't know about you, but once the grand final is done, I'm not feeling hungry for AFL women's like it would be at the start of the year.
You're not a thirsty boy.
Yeah, you're not a thirsty boy after the grand final. It's just so it's an afterthought. So it goes to a point. So like just happen's sake, I was listening to a podcast that I told you guys that I wanted to play something of in a minute, but it was Millie Boyle, who's Australian star of rugby league in the rugby NRLW, and she was saying that their state of origin that just happened, they decided it was going to be 2 games this year, and then the morning that they went into state of origin camp, so they went in the afternoon, so like a 5-day camp to get ready for the game. The morning of the camp, the organisers at NRLW went, you know what, like let's have a meeting about how this is actually going to work because it's only 2 games. We can't have a winner if it's a draw. So like let's work out what that's going to happen. So 5 days before the tournament started,
they figured out the rules.
They figured out the rules and they just went with an aggregate score. So whoever, basically the team that lost the first game was already down 14 points before they kicked off the second. And it was like 5 days before. That's what this is. It's like 7 weeks out. We get a fixture that's bullshit.
It's only 10 rounds.
10 rounds for 18 teams. Yep. And so in this also goes to this point, AFLW starts in 7 weeks' time. The Sample W finished a month ago.
Yeah.
So what have they been doing for 12 weeks?
It's just a joke.
Do you know what I mean? So, and that's the grand final. So you think about the players that didn't make finals, they're, 3 months removed from playing any footy.
Yep.
Then they're supposed to come in and play an elite level football. And then they're going to complain that the standard's not there because they're coming in cold off of no season.
And that's what happened last year. Like, if you got dropped as a player, how do you regain your form when there's no games being played?
Exactly. There's no bottom tier to push for that. They've expanded way too quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So part of that interview as well with Millie Boyle, and I implore everyone to go check it out on Hello Sport All Talk with Millie Boyle.
We'll put it in our show notes.
Yeah, definitely. Because she goes, we play on a Monday night during the start of the season for 12 weeks. Then there's like a 5-week break and then Origin if you're good enough to play in it. But then you haven't played any footy for 5 weeks. So you come in and the standard's terrible because no one's played.
Yeah.
And then you have another 3 weeks and then you go into training for NRLW. So like there's no consistency. No one's making themselves better.
And I just want to be clear, if this is the first time you listen to us, we're nothing but champions for AFL Women's. Like we have interviewed so many of the players. We've interviewed Matthew Clark and a bunch of players. I'm just more mad at the fact that it's just discrediting them as a group and a cohort. And like you've said, it's happening in NRL. But there was another comment that they were saying about what not to do.
Yeah, so they're sort of looking at it as like they look at the AFL and they go, that's not really what we want to do.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they started in 2017 with the NRLW. They had 4 teams. The 4 teams lasted the first 3 years or something.
Yeah.
And then now, so what's that, 2017, 6 years later, they're just getting to 10 teams.
Yep.
And
how many teams are in the NRL? Just
17.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting to 10 teams now, and they're complaining that that's probably stretching it too thin. They wanted to add another 2 from the 6th the year before. So go to 8 teams, but now they've gone to 10. They're doing a 9-round season, so they all play each other once.
So that makes sense. And with this expansion, like if they're going to push for 18 teams, they needed a 17-round season.
Yeah.
And what they need as well is consistency in scheduling. I think they should have kept the start of, like starting the start of February. If it doesn't matter if it overlaps with the men's season, it's going to anyway.
Yeah.
And you could potentially have just the grand final in halfway through the season in a bye round for the AFL to give it clean air, but then there's still run up for the AFLW. There's just so many better ways.
You're making way too much sense.
Yeah, no, they won't do it. Yeah, they won't do it.
No, we could go on, and we'll probably do that probably on Thursday night too. Hopefully to have the Inner Sanctum's Chris and Sims as well on to do a deep dive on all things AFL Women's 2 in the near future. Now, on to happier news about AFL Women's 2. The leadership group was announced as well. So Chelsea Randall stays as captain, but who's in the leadership group?
So Sarah Allen remains vice captain. Actually, it's the same leadership group from last year. Eloise Jones, Stevie Lee Thompson, and Ebony Marinoff round out the 5. But so the same group to lead us into this season.
Fantastic.
Have you noticed that Chelsea Randall's like the AFLW equivalent of Jordan Dawson? She just goes wherever the team needs her at the time and excels.
Yeah.
What instrument would she be good with? Because we see Dawson's good
ukulele.
with synth.
I reckon she'd love a ukulele sing-along.
Yeah, right.
Just around a campfire.
Yeah, but
grab the uke
as
out.
long as it's not bloody Wonderwall again.
Didn't she send us a video of her playing, or MJ playing one night a couple of years ago?
Really?
Because I think, because I think it was it Chelsea who was playing the guitar?
Yeah, and MJ.
Yeah.
And that's right. I think I wrote it on Crowject and just said, now play Wonderwall. They sent us a full clip. She was great. She was brilliant. So, yeah, anyway. Now, we're going to have a race to the bottom.
Of the top 8.
Of the top
It's
8.
the race to the bottom.
So I have done a bit of research today. A few ladder predictors have thrown around because, you know, my hope had gone out the window Saturday night of finals. And I was like, I need to redeem this in some way.
Scrape it back.
So every week for the last 6 weeks of the season, I'll give you some teams to death ride each week and some games to follow, which will allow us to have a chance at making the 8.
Yep.
This week, we look at the Bulldogs taking on Essendon. We need the Dogs to win. Both of these teams are in and around us for the last few spots in the 8, but the Dogs have an easier run home. Essendon have a tough run, so we want the Dogs to win. They'll probably jump up 5-6 spot at the end of the year. Essendon should be around the same amount of wins as us at the end. So anytime they can lose, let's make them lose. Other one this week is a bit of a stretch. GWS take on the Gold Coast Suns. We would prefer a Gold Coast Suns win here. GWS also have a pretty easy run home. They've got Suns, Dogs, Sydney, Port, Essendon and Carlton, whereas the Suns play... I didn't write down the Suns because I was just like, they don't matter. But if they can get a win this week for us, it would be very handy. Over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at Carlton, Richmond, St Kilda, Essendon, GWS, Geelong, and the Western Bulldogs. Because even though Geelong, you'd think they're probably going to jump up a bit higher, they've actually got a very tough run and could be probably around the mark with us at the bottom part of the 8. So stay tuned, keep the faith, and obviously the Crows need to do their part and win as well. But we will follow and death ride a few teams so that we can make the 8.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not off us just yet. I think we still got...
You're not off ice.
Well,
No,
you don't know the week I've had.
Sorry. I was like, what?
That's all right. You're on the road to recovery. That's all right.
Acknowledgement's the first step. I'm not off just yet. I've still got that slither of hope. I just think that we can turn it around. I honestly think we bounce back in a big way this week and knock off the Demons.
See, that's the key. With our last 6 games I worked out, and these results are assuming we win one of the 3 against Melbourne, Port, or Brisbane. We need
one or all 3.
What? Take them all.
not?
I'll take them all. Then. Fuck it. Don't
and then
worry
we
about
can lose
riding
against
others.
West Coast. I don't care.
But yeah, so this is with the assumption that we beat one of those 3, and that needs to happen for us to make the 8, because otherwise it's curtains. It's done.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just keep winning.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Why not?
It's a bold lab, but it just might work.
Nixon just walks in. You know what, boys?
I've got an idea.
Yeah. If you don't like it, you can get it.
Pack your shoes.
Yeah, pack your bags. Pack your shoes. Get it.
You got to go in there. He's got to go in there this morning and be like, who do you want to beat? You want to be Charlie? fighting for his golden ticket, or you want to be Grandpa Joe lying about life, just laying there mooching off your bloody grandson. Get up and get it.
Go and buy that chocolate bar.
Yeah.
But what's the story? What's the moral of the story? Because they both end up in the chocolate factory. They both get the experience.
Charlie ate the chocolate.
Charlie owns it.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie got that sweet, sweet chocolate taste on his lips. Grandpa Joe's just got deceit.
He's got diabetes.
Yeah. And a grandma that's pickled vintage for life.
Straight. Too much sauerkraut. All right. So we just need to give a big thank you to our patrons, $10 and above a month. And thank you so much for supporting us with the pod too. Head over to patreon.com/Crowject as well. We've got our list here of Jess Cook, Jenny McArdle, Dave Carnivale, Jake Bocco, Ben Piro, Sophie Damon, Drew Corner, Sam Curtis, Sean Marie Davies, Brendan McGarrigan, James Payne, Jezza Withers, Matt Rollins, Neil Roylance, Greg Fleming, Jesus, Jordan Marnie, and now has increased her pledge, Simone McDonnell as well. Clap that, you fucks. Yeah. Whoa. Oh, geez, lighting on the fader. I love it. Now, we also have our segment street, which will be over on our Patreon as well. So head over to patreon.com/Crowject for Around the Grounds, SANFL, Fantasyland, and all the exclusives there as well. We've got one more that we've brought out, which is a Golden Toot of the Week. Indeed. The floor is yours.
Indeed. If you take a look at your run sheet, I did put an arrow to it, and I'll jump into Beryl and Cecil of the Week, but close enough.
Oh,
great. Golden Toot will come in the Patreon segment street. We'll talk about Matthew Lloyd and one of our favourite 5-minute firemen, Kane Corns, in there, which will obviously be quite fun. But moving on to Beryl and Cecil of the Week, you can imagine this week there was a C, an absolute C in Adelaide Crows Pride, the forum and over on Twitter. But I've picked out 4 of my favourites here. Dan rocks. His opinion does not. Do the umpires get a bonus for keeping us out of the 8? As we discussed earlier, Dan, the umpiring shit all around. It wasn't just us.
Just sucked.
Yep. George Kemp, potential family member of Jace Kemp, who knows, at the press box, I don't know, said the umpires have failed.
Ross, just living life hard.
Could be. Says the umpires have failed Josh Rochelle, but he has spelt Rochelle Rashelllie, which is an interesting way to go about it.
Rochelle.
I thought the player with his head over the ball was supposed to be protected, but he got punched in the head, got his face shoved in the turf, no report, no 50-metre penalty, shame on the tribunal, 2 weeks for Josh, arseholes.
Do you reckon he's related to Miles Kemp?
Could be.
The advertiser writer who blocked us on Twitter, despite the fact I had no idea who he was.
He very
never
well could
interacted
be.
with him whatsoever.
He put up an absolute stinker of an article last week. Yeah, pretty poor one.
Shout out to you, Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
Yeah, change it to kilometres, you. Right, cool.
Over to Brendan Sharman, who says the best coaches are coaching from the sidelines, where they can look a player in the face and say, come on, Nix never does it. Maybe they should look at that at the club. Our last quarters always suck. Need Nix down there in the action, pumping the boys up to do more. Just my thoughts. Pissed off like all of us.
What's it going to do?
Do more.
Come on.
Yeah.
See, I want to see Nixie just walking on the side like a real football manager, like an EPL,
Like a Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, just walking around, hands behind the back in a trench coat, because he'd look menacing. He'd look like a hitman. Just walking. Yeah.
No, I rate that.
You know what that's from? I know exactly what that's from. I don't know if you guys watched the replay, but Fox Footy did a thing of since round whatever when Adam Kingsley went from up in the box where he's stressed all the time he's gone down to the bench and he can communicate effectively with the players and stuff. That's when they've turned it all around. So that person's watched that and be like, oh, that
I figured
means
it out.
Nix has to. Yeah.
Would it have worked for Andrew McQualter on the weekend to talk to Morris Rioli when he got substituted? He didn't want to pick up the phone.
Is that Andrew McWalter of Lost His Dad's fame?
Oh, shit. The McWalter, what's his name?
Yeah,
the one
it
that's
is.
coaching.
Anyway, on to the last one here. And Facebook have added an anonymous member feature for Adelaide Crows Pride the Forum. So I can't tell you this person's name. They have.
I'll better turn that off.
Anonymous member.
Oh.
Was this you, Peter?
No.
He turned it on to post. And
I should have a look.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, I'll find out who
That's
it is.
that's the guy at the swingers party that doesn't put a key ring on his keys, just an anonymous member.
We love a good anonymous member.
So, anonymous member says, with our quote-unquote rebuild, when should we start to see better results from the team? We're not seeing them already. When should we start being consistent and being able to win games away from home? All games at home for club legends. Fuck, we've only lost one of those. Crazy thing is we've won the same amount of games as Gold Coast and their coach gets sacked, but our coach seems to be getting praised by more of you than less. We have a very talented list, and when they play, I'm assuming it means play well, we really bring the A game. When is enough going? Fuck me. When is enough going to be enough? There's only so many years we can use the quote-unquote inconsistent excuse. We are playing too many alike players who do not have a strong enough influence over the game. For example, Scholl. Why don't we give Crouch or Haitley a spill? No comment.
A spill? Because then they'll have to cry over the milk.
We needed a tall defender last week against Essendon. Where is Borlace? Chance. Borlace's chance. Jesus, the spelling's not great on this from anonymous member. Lift, son. I think a lot of this inconsistency comes from the game plan and selection for teams. We need to adapt to each team's game plan so we can win these games and change what doesn't work. Seems like our coaches just don't do that, especially when they will still be happy making big E week after week, but not give these SANFL guns, in all capitals, a go. Thank you, anonymous member.
Geez.
Yeah.
That was
We now know who it is. We'll message you later, mate. Because seriously.
Anthony Cream, wasn't it?
It legitimately was. It was not Cream.
We love cream.
Anyway.
That was a long one.
That was
It
a long
was
one.
a long one.
Now, speaking of a long one, we need to talk about this game this weekend. I don't know why I've gone full Russell Crowe.
Long from Melbourne.
Yeah, we're playing against Melbourne at the MCG on Sunday afternoon. This is going to be on channel. This feels like a 7 game.
It's got to be, doesn't it?
Is it 2 o'clock?
Sunday afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, 2 o'clock's the 7 game on a Sunday.
Yeah, great.
Why does it have to be this one?
Yeah, why?
Bit of national TV time finally, and it's ooh.
Now, we've mentioned some of the force changes. Obviously, is going to be Rochelle.
Yep.
Obviously. Who else do we think comes out based off of form? According to Twitter, the whole team.
I think, unfortunately, I think McAdam has to come out. I know it's McAdam and Michelle out, but I think I wouldn't mind seeing Gollan in, and Schoenberg, I think, deserves a shot back in the side after some great SNFL form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're talking SANFL form, we can only talk one guy. It's the Dragon. Dragon's got to come in.
He kicked 4.
Dragon was up and about on the weekend.
Yeah. Against the top of the table.
He can't really
bays.
come in because who do you bring him in for?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to replace McAdam, but I think Scholl needs a rest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Braden Cook or one of the young boys get a run. Maybe a Nankervis.
You know, I called it 7 months earlier than anyone else claiming to call it first, but Billy Dowling, why not give him a shot?
Yeah.
He had
He
24
starred on the
touches
weekend.
and a goal on the weekend.
Yeah, looks really good.
And 12 tackles, mind you.
Yeah, how was the sizzle last week about Nankervis? And we're just like, oh, he's going to get picked, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got picked for the SNFL.
well, it's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah, fair. All right.
Or maybe like a Tyler Brown.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Nah.
Bit of size and strength in the middle.
It's too unpredictable. We need the most obvious choices for the Crows.
Now, let's get to our selections for who wins and by how much and leading goal kicker, Ben.
I'm torn between keeping the faith and being a realist for this one. I think we probably get rolled, being perfectly honest. Melbourne by 25 points and Taylor Walker will kick 2.
Okay. Late.
Fair enough. I think the strategy is to not be ahead by 4 goals against Melbourne with 7 minutes to go. So just do the opposite of that, and we'll run over top of them. And Crows to win by a point, and Fogg to kick 5, because I think he usually plays well on the G.
Mm-hmm. Raymond.
Well, I think this is going to be a week of 2 very different build-ups. Melbourne, who is sniffing their fluffs all week. Come back against Brisbane by 4 goals, run over the top of them. Max Gawn, Christian Petrarca just hoses to noses. Like, sniffing their own fluffs.
That's an analogy.
I reckon Nixie's gonna just be like at the boys all week. He's gonna have them like just raring, ready to go. There's gonna be so much like dirty talk during the week. He's gonna have them ready to go by Sunday afternoon.
So much dirty talk.
Yeah, they're gonna be up and about for Sunday afternoon. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna like
Explode.
hopefully not go too early, but they're gonna come in hot. We're gonna win this one by 5 goals, and we're gonna watch Isaac Rankin kick 6 on the G.
Yeah, good.
Ooh.
And announce himself.
Dirty talk. They're going to be throbbing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be red hot and
He's going to be
throbbing.
like, he was sending him a text message tonight being like, my parents aren't going to be home Sunday.
Hey,
And tomorrow
you are
it's going to be
weak.
like...
It's not going to help on the field, but off the field it'll be great.
Yeah,
for the team.
that's
Don't
true.
go too early, so he can't edge him too much.
No, you can't edge him
just
too
gonna
much,
say.
but yeah.
Yeah. Get slippery as well. So
Fuck,
anyway.
I talk shit.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, given the sniff and fluffs and everything else like that, and I talk about old Grandpa Joe and everything else like that, I think that Melbourne have Dutched themselves out.
Yeah.
And I'm saying lids off Crows by 40.
Oh, shit.
It's gonna be a wet weather game. Okay, just looked at the forecast. I think we are going to go for team speed. We're going to go all out. We got within 2 points at Collingwood. I don't think it's going to be that packed out. And it is the end of school holidays, but I reckon there's going to be a fair few Crows going over there too. Any of us going?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have recent form.
Yeah.
We're not going to curse it.
So Crows by 40, and I'm going to say Tex is going to hump with 5.
Yes.
He's going to hump.
Love that.
Nice.
He's going to throb and hump and just get it all over with. Anyway, so thank you to our sponsors in Trojan Aluminium and Nathaniel's Coffee and Panini. I'm Peter, I think. And I just had to think about that one there too. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leighton, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ray, I was about to say my name's Ray.
You probably don't need to thank me after that. Just wrap up the game. What's coming?
My name's Peter. Go Crom.
Go, Craig.
Kicking first.